The Weekly Warp Pipe.
What's up, my Warp Pipers? Welcome back to another episode. Have you ever wanted to collect for a full set but didn't know where to start? Well, we got Mort on from Mort's Garage, and he just completed an entire N64 collection. That's complete in box too. So you definitely want to check out this episode to hear what Mort has to say about collecting full sets. Not only that, but Mort joins us for Name That Quote, and after we challenge him, he gives us a quote to see if we can get it. Rad and Bogus is back, and it stumps us once again. David has an interesting answer for his choice. Well, alright guys, sit back, relax, and enjoy some nostalgia. Let's jump in the Warp Pipe.
Hey, we're back. We got a guest, our monthly guest.
That's a jam. Where did you get that song from?
That song's from MC Kids. If you ever played that game, McKids.
Oh yeah. I did the McDonald's NES game, right?
The McDonald's. Mm-hmm. So like any of like music you hear on the podcast, like little short stingers and this and that, all from that game. Like phenomenal soundtrack, great game. Like not a lot of people know. And I was like, you know what,
brother, that's not a cut. That is a deep cut. I like that.
It's a good one. Yeah. What's up, Mort? Welcome.
Whoa! I'm stoked to be here. Thanks for having me.
I just ran into you a few weeks ago at Game On Expo.
I know. I'm so sorry about that. I wasn't paying attention. Thank you. Yeah. It was awesome. It was. I feel like with cons, it's always you see so many wonderful people, and each interaction is far too brief. And especially at Game On, it was like Russ. And then but I was shooting this video that was like, I don't know. And you thank God for you, because there's a few shots where I'm like, all right, I need a pan down that does a thing that blah, blah, blah. And you were like, I got you.
And I'm in full Jason cosplay. And he's like, can you record this camera? And I was like, sure, why not?
Yeah. We'll see how the final product comes across, but I'm almost to that edit, which I'm excited about.
Nice. Yeah, I'm still going through my footage to get my video out. Hopefully I can get a few videos out of it. I do have, I think, the opening shot where I'm like, hey, I'm at Game On, and you actually come in and we're like by a booth with blasting music and we're just like dancing.
Yes. Awesome. I love that. That's great. How are you guys?
Oh, I'm doing good. I just got back from a long road trip from Chicago, so yeah.
It's interesting.
Glad to have you here.
Two of you are wearing the most amazing hats I think I might have ever seen before in my life.
I appreciate the call out. Thanks.
It's pretty good. I like the other one a lot. I would like one for myself actually, but the other
I'll trade you.
Yeah. I cannot hat this hair. It has to be out there. You know,
it's out in the sun.
It's all for real. And beautiful middle age. There's like 2 gray hairs in there right now. So we'll see how long that lasts for. But it's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
I am jelly, super jelly, peanut butter jelly.
Do you have hair?
Yes, I have hair.
Because some people are balding. Is why. That's.
I'm good. I got some hair.
There he is. Yes, we did it. Wow!
Super great. Go great.
Wow, man.
Fitting.
More beautiful than I thought.
So bad.
Oh, I love it. Oh, that's great. Wow.
So grab your Mort's Garage hats on Instagram, maybe, or
yeah, that, and then for some reason my Etsy shop's not up right now. But my friend Ralph, who designed all our band shirts, I said I don't want gaming looking shirts. I want like band looking shirts, and so he did all of my band stuff, and so he did all these shirts, and we have like a full Wes Anderson themed shirt. We have like a full like a punk rock shirt. Like, I don't know. I'm very proud of how they turned out. So
nice.
Go there.
So those have not been released yet?
They've been out for like a year. So I don't in my videos say you can visit the Etsy shop at the link in the I should do that more, but I don't know. I keep forgetting to when I get to the videos.
Well, you can connect those to your YouTube, right?
What's that?
Can you connect those to your YouTube? I think
they're in the description. Yeah, they're in the description.
Okay.
And I'm still using the same link that's not working, but hopefully it will soon.
So what have you
With
been
your
doing?
videos, everyone's
Game
so
on?
in depth on your videos, they're not even looking at your description. They're paying
Right.
attention to you,
Right,
They're
right.
feeling the soul change of the moment. Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, no. What's up with me? Well, busy. In December I switched careers, and it's been really like, you know, when you start a business, there's a period of time where you are working nights and weekends and everything in between. So my upload schedule on my own channel has had to shift a little bit to accommodate for that, just because of where the energy is. But it's
Mhm.
been awesome and super rewarding, and just a lot of projects that I'm so excited about, one of which is due to release next week, just waiting on final confirmation. And I don't want to say it comes out next week and then it doesn't. So but I started a production company. I help brands and companies ideate, shoot, and release and help run videos for commercials or YouTube or social media in general. And it's just so much fun. And some of the partners that I've been able to work with are like, I cannot believe this is happening right now. That all is happening. So it's been great, and it's a super fun thing because before I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and that's something that I did for years and loved it. And I had this video outlet because I've always been just a massive film nerd, and just if we start talking about movies, I will not stop. And had this life changing experience, particularly with my kids and with one of my favorite filmmakers ever. And
Mhm.
after that experience was like, I need to do that. I can't do music anymore, but I can do this. And it's just been super rad. So I've been busy with that, but very, very happy. And then also like kind of curating down the collection a little bit more as well. So getting to just the essentials. I'm about to sell a sealed game that I never opened, which is the Pokemon Sun and Moon for 3DS, because I ended up getting Ultra Sun and Moon, and there you go. So
Nice.
I could tell you that.
Sounds
Right.
good.
Like
I'm the
just
same
a
way. I
wall
could talk about
behind you.
movies forever.
Yeah,
Oh, that
well, I
wall.
know you can. Your photography's amazing. I've
Thank you.
seen
I
your work.
appreciate that. I
Yeah,
appreciate that. I got to film for you at Retro World.
you certainly did, and I love that video. I wish more people saw it, but I love that video.
Let me.
Uh,
I'm going to tell you a little story about that. When I saw that video pop up on your YouTube channel, now I helped you walk around and film
yeah,
it.
yeah.
When I saw it, all I could think of is, and this is just a testament to how great of an editor you are. I can't believe that raw footage of how it was all laid out through the day, how you pasted everything together and did this entire crazy story where there were like bits and pieces from one part of the day thrown into another part of the day through, but it looks so cohesive and so natural. I was floored once I saw like, because when I'm filming it, it's like, okay, we're just kind of following around. To go in and meticulously pick out like the scenes and put them all together and then tell the story was
Where do I mail this to right now? Thank you.
Right.
I will hit you up in your DMs and give you the address.
So I should just Venmo you.
But no,
Thank you.
seriously, thank you. That like
Lying.
it was such a cool thing to watch. Like it was
Like
wild.
your editing is inspiring, Mark. But to watch your
Thanks.
videos is really inspiring, especially for people that are making content and doing stuff like that. Which I mean, that's why we first started talking, is because I was watching your videos. I was like, I would really like some tips and tricks from you. And then you have your Patreon, and I signed up, and it was an honor when you first went through one of my videos and made your suggestions, right? So
Thanks.
it,
Thank you.
he's
Yeah,
not like, David is not sugarcoating it. Your editing is incredible.
I
Now where
appreciate that.
does he send you the money?
Yeah, he already does.
Just hugs, just
Yeah.
hugs.
No, no, I appreciate that. I think that's one of the coolest things is I was like, for Patreon, I was like, is there a service that I can offer back? And it's trying to look at other people's stuff. I think all of us are kind-hearted by like it, just at least for the overwhelming majority of people I've met in this scene, people are just very sweet and kind-hearted. And one of the things that I think comes with that is sometimes we're a bit afraid to give constructive feedback to each other's work. And for better or for worse, I look at making YouTube videos as making something that's art at some level, and it should mean something. And so there's a lot of intentionality and heart in what's there, and I think like you can constructively criticize an idea and do it lovingly in a way that builds up the person, not just tears them down. But some of my best personal growth moments has been someone saying, "This isn't very good, but I know it could
Mm.
be." And like, it's like, "Thank you. I need to hear that." So,
Right.
not believe that I don't know, like all of us need that person in our life who's not afraid to just go, "I love you. This could be better." So,
Giving you the hard truth, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Seriously.
So, I get that comment about my hair a lot. "I love you, but dude, seriously, what are you doing up there? You look like Bob's Big Boy. Come on." Yeah.
That's jealousy. All that is jealousy.
So,
Nice.
anyway. Well,
I'm
yeah.
having technical issues, so I'm gonna work on this, guys. Sorry
All
about
right.
Fair enough.
that.
All good.
We
Well,
don't have
here
Jay
now.
as a guest today, so
what's
someone's
What'd
that?
you
gotta do
say?
it. So we don't have Jay as a guest today,
Oh.
so someone's got to do it.
Oh, does Jay
Uh,
normally have technical
We
issues?
love you, Jay. We love you, Jay.
Usually, yeah, when we were doing the podcast, something with his computer would go
Oh,
down or camera, or I'm like, blast. I was like, we're trying to keep this going. I do my best to try not to miss an episode on the podcast because it is called the Weekly Warp
yeah,
Pipe and should come out weekly. And when people hear the name, they're like, oh, I could catch it weekly. So we've been
yeah.
doing our best to continue that, posting on Spotify, YouTube, um, all the other platforms there.
Well,
Looks
that's
like
awesome.
News.
Dave's back with a new camera.
It's
Well,
a fun one.
we're gonna change that
Okay, there
Oh,
we
look
go.
at that.
a bit better.
Well, you look beautiful still, so that's good.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I try.
So much love in the room today.
Yeah.
So much.
So
Cool.
do you guys want to get into the first segment?
Let's do it.
Yeah, we can do
I
that.
think
get
we
'em.
better. So we're gonna kick over to our Warp Pipe rental, and we're gonna pick a game. And Mort actually picked our game this week, so let's see what it is. Go ahead, Russ.
Let's head to the video store, grab a game for the weekend. We have the box art and description to guide us when we're choosing what game to rent. So grab your rental card because this is the Warp Pipe Rental.
What game you rent for the weekend?
So this week we went to the N64 and rented Armorines Project
I need to know.
Swarm.
I need to know why, Mort. I need to know why.
I need to know what you thought of the game, but I'm guessing by that question, yeah, there's so much about this game that I want to say because of a lot of reasons, but I don't know if I should start this one off or if you guys should start this one off because there's a very thoughtful reason I picked
Fair
this.
enough. Fair enough. Let's discuss quickly the box art here. Armorines. It's almost in this grayscale, and you just see the bold letters of the word Armorines, and then some like bugs in the background that are red as well. And it was giving me very Starship Troopers vibes. Like I'm like, all right, is this like some type of shooter game? And I had never played this game before. Looking at the box art, looks pretty cool, I would say.
Yeah, I love the
Probably
cover.
one
I
I
love
would
it's,
grab, right?
Now,
Check
one
out
you would
as
grab?
well.
Yeah.
it's so different than the very colorful Mario games and the 3D platformers. It is Starship Troopers 64 is the game for sure. And it's Acclaim, and Acclaim is not a stranger to first-person shooters on the N64, giving us arguably one of the very best. In I would say Turok 2 is probably the peak from them for first-person shooters. But Armorines borrows a lot of the same assets, and I think even some of the same development team is a part of this one as well. And with that comes, I think, some of the biggest complaints right off the bat. If you have any experience with the N64 and first person shooters, you can acclimate. If you don't, this is going to be a tough hang.
Yeah, it was definitely a little tough for sure. I tried to hunt this one down at the convention I was at on the weekend, and
Nice,
I could
nice.
not find it anywhere. So I ended up having to emulate it. And
Yeah.
luckily, when I was emulating it, I could adjust the controls
Hmm.
Mm.
because I feel like the controls on it are a little wonky. If I
Yeah.
was playing it on N64, I feel like I'd be having a bit of a rough go.
Yeah, so it uses the same Turok control scheme, which is that it uses the C sticks to move on the right hand side of the controller, and it uses the thumbstick to aim on the left hand side of the controller. This was like, I think at that time in the 90s, it was the way of kind of getting people to have more precise aim because keyboard and mouse was not an option for N64. So I think, developers are like, oh, if you're used to like, arrow keys on your right hand side of your keyboard or wherever they are, and the mouse on the other side, it's kind of the same idea, right?
Okay.
But like the auto when you go to play a modern Call of Duty or any modern first person shooter, you
Hmm.
don't need auto aim because the controls are so perfect. But then on these classic games, or a classic era of games, because Armorines is probably not a classic. It's something where you need the auto aim, and it's very generous, which I appreciate in this game. But I I played through almost all of Turok 2 on the N64 with the C stick or C buttons rather, and the thumbstick, and so and Armorines came back to me pretty quick when I was playing it to prepare for our time together. And yeah, I think that there's a really good reason why this game is worth talking about. Yeah, here you go. This is some good long play of it. It's fun to me. It's a fun game. It's gory. There's I remember the first time I played the game and I didn't know what to expect. I was running through the snow on this level, and as I'm running out, a bug jumps out of the ground, and it like was the greatest jump scare. I was like, oh my gosh, like it freaked me
Yeah.
out. And like not a lot of N64 games had those kinds of features to them. Yeah, see, I think the bugs are well animated.
Yeah, they
They're
are.
gross when they blow up. They have cool sound effects to them. It feels like Turok in that sort of respect. It's like Turok meets Starship Troopers for the
Absolutely, yeah.
N64. The problem is just about everything about the game is technically woefully um, just under just it the N64 cannot do what the game thinks it's doing.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I did look up like best control scheme setup to see how to set my controls because I felt like I was like going too fast, like up and down. Like I had to put it into like the negative to like
Yeah,
slow down to be like, geez.
yeah. And then you're also using your left, like for me, I'm normally aiming with my right, and so having to
Mhm.
use your left, you're like, "Oh god, like what am I doing here?" But yeah, there's the I think if Starship Troopers hadn't have come out, I wish they could have gotten the license and called it Starship Troopers 64. Maybe they could have gotten even more funding for it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, look at
Right,
it.
right.
That bug looks super creepy and everything,
Right?
but this level is already demonstrating maybe a problem that the game has, which is that s the N64 is notorious for bad frame rates and fog, and this
Mhm.
game couples that also, look at this, they look like cockroaches, it's awesome. But the game also combines that with, some of the levels are so dark, it is nearly impossible to see unless you just
Yes, yes.
throttle the brightness on your TV.
Some of the rooms, even just walking out of the outside in that first snow level into those rooms, there was a point where I didn't know I had to go, like, up the platform or up the
Yeah,
ramp in that second hallway you're in. I walked around for, like, 20 minutes trying to figure I was like, "There's gotta be stairs in here. Why can't I see the stairs?"
yeah,
Because it's
yeah,
just so dark in that second room, right?
yep,
So,
It's funny though because
lots
when
of
you look at this gameplay, it looks awesome.
yeah,
You know, I mean, I can see how it's really dark there, but like the graphics are great. I mean, it has a great idea. I'm not a first person shooter. Like I don't
okay,
really enjoy first person shooters. I don't even play Metroid Prime. But I mean, just looking at gameplay and graphics and all of that, you would think that it was a an amazing game. And then I'm gonna admit, guys, I was on a road trip. I did check the video store, and it was out of stock, so I was unable to officially play. But I did watch a ton of gameplay. I watched a lot of reviews. I might have a little bit of insight, but not as much as you guys with firsthand experience. So,
Right.
but now I did want to ask Mort something about this game. I saw a review that a lot of people would have wished this to be Turok 3.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? Did they not have a license for a Turok 3?
No, a Turok
And
3
so they
came out on the N64, but
Yeah.
actually that's a perfect example. I think Armorines is a perfect there's no audience for it. It'll never happen. But it is a perfect candidate for a remaster because
Sure.
you could get the controls to modernize a little bit. If you could get that frame rate up to 60 frames, if you could brighten up some of those dark rooms, all three of those things are things that Night Dive has done for N64 games. You look at Turok
Mhm.
2 on Nintendo Switch, Xbox, PS4, etc. I just played through Turok 3 front to back, which takes about 2 or 3 hours on Switch because they made it 60 frames per second. The controls are perfect, and like I think it took so long before because the frame rate is so bad in the N64 version that it's almost unplayable.
Mhm.
But they in this version on the Switch, it's like, oh, you just go here, you do this, you shoot the thing, everything blows up, it's gory, it's fun, all that kind of stuff. Um, so that all being said, I really like how and then also like the Doom 64 remaster that Night Dive did. Doom 64 was also notorious for like if you don't turn up the brightness on your TV screen, it's it's a no-go, etc. And Doom 64 fixes that. I think like if they could do that to Armorines, they could dial in the controls and then bring it to 60 frames per second. I think there's actually a really compelling, fun game underneath all of that. And something that was interesting, I don't think anyone would buy it except for me and like five other people. But at the same time, I picked it because I was like, I think there's like an amazing game underneath
Mhm.
what we got. I think that like they were pushing like at that time I remember IGN reviews were like, it's amazing. It's got like it even hits 30 frames per second at times. It's like, whoa, 30. And that like at times, with these N64 games, you were regularly dealing with games that were getting like, single digit frames when like too
Mhm.
much action happened on screen, which obviously makes the games unplayable. Probably
Mhm.
most notoriously, the last levels on Turok 2 on N64 are a slideshow. Like they are
Mm.
impossible to play.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, Tribe of the Mantids, I
Huh.
think, is the level's name. It's just like I don't know. I hope that like I can survive this because I don't know.
Hmm.
Partly why I
I
This
joined.
one
also
has
heard
really
that
good bones, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also heard, like, with the expansion pack, like, didn't help either, right?
Well, in general, the expansion pack, I don't think what developers were going for was optimizing frame rate. For the N64, a lot of times the expansion pack was optimizing resolution, which would then hurt the frame rate. So there weren't
Oh,
there
okay.
weren't a lot of games that used the expansion pack where the expansion pack, in my opinion, is a huge asset. It was cool at the time because you're like, wow, it looks so much sharper. But any kind of gameplay that got too busy on screen would just become even worse from a frame rate perspective. And
Hmm.
so the
Hmm.
expansion pack I mean, I'm probably wrong on a few games where the expansion pack was helpful, but to my knowledge, there's only one game on N64 that hit 60 frames per second consistently, and then you'd have a few that were at 30 pretty regularly, and occasionally would dip. But and the 60 frames per second game is F-Zero X, which is why all the graphics are so simple and blocky, so they could
Mm.
just keep the speed fast on the game.
I
Nice.
would love to see this game as, like, a remaster because it does look the concept is great. I mean, it's the Starship Troopers. I mean, who doesn't love Starship Troopers?
It is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and it's not too difficult. Like, you go to these areas, bugs come out, you shoot them all, they make cool screechy sounds. I mean, even in my play of this leading up to this, you go into a cave at like the end of the first level, you're on like a tank thing that's blasting everything. and it's so fun to just sit there. It's like unlimited ammo, and you're just seeing bug splatter just go everywhere, and it's so satisfying, because who doesn't want to kill a bunch of cockroaches? And yet at the same time, yeah, that I don't know. So I think I chose it because it's like that term hidden gem is thrown around a lot, but this is one that I think is like it on the N64. You have to forgive a lot of its blemishes, but when people talk about off games on the N64, they usually talk about Mischief Makers, Little Adventure Racing,
Yep.
and a few others, but they don't usually talk about Armorines. And I'm like, I don't know. There's a lot of good first-person shooters on N64. Perfect Dark, GoldenEye, Turok Games, Quake 2. I think The World Is Not Enough is a great James Bond game, but Armorines, if they could optimize a few things, I think people would be putting it ahead of some of those games.
Nice.
And Mort, what does this game typically run? Like if you were to find it,
It's like a $10 game. It's a really
Okay.
affordable game. It's not going to cost you much.
Is it hard to find? Because I went to a lot of game stores and toy stores, and even the con that I went to out in Chicago, I looked at the vendors that had video games, and I did look for it, and I couldn't find it. Is it difficult to find?
First of all, I'm on eBay right now, and I'm seeing copies at $12-13 free delivery.
Oh, they really want to get rid of it.
Up to 20. And then I'm seeing like and then complete in box for like $80-70. And then at cons and stuff, I usually see it at a few tables. It's not nearly as commonplace as the main stalwarts on the N64, but I usually see it. It's a black cartridge, so it's either going to be there's only a handful of games that are black cartridges on the N64, and so it's pretty easy to spot. And so I would say, like, if you have a pretty forgiving temperament and can appreciate that it's a almost 25-year-old video game, and you like first person shooters, and especially like each development studio has its own identity. Like you can tell you're playing a Rare game pretty quick, you can tell you're playing a Nintendo game pretty quick, you can tell when you're playing an Acclaim game as well. And I think this is Iguana Studios, if I'm not mistaken, or Iguana Entertainment. It feels like that. It feels like Turok. And so, like, if you like those games, it's really worth. I don't think it's nearly as bad as people said back then, but I also don't think it's like an amazing game or anything like that.
No.
But it's not one people talk about on the N64. So if you're like, oh, I want to try something new, I think you should fire it up. It's a good one.
So what would we give it for
Let's say
rating?
what would it ratings? Yeah, rating out of 5.
A 5. What'd you give it, Mark?
Oh, I'd give it a really solid 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah. There's better games for sure, but there's many worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would give it, probably a 3, I would say. I only played the first couple of levels, but
Yeah.
it's a solid 3. It's a solid game for sure. It just, like I said, some tweaks would really help it.
Yeah.
I'll go with Keith on that, a 3. I feel like if I had more time with it too, maybe a multiple rental, you'll get used to the controls and appreciate it a little bit better.
Nice.
Very cool. What did we got any just call me out again. This is just call out David night.
Gonna rate it on
Right, I love it. I love it. I'm gonna give it, from the gameplay I see, I'm gonna give it a 3. But I'm telling you, it does look like a very cool game that if they did a remake of this, even if it's not the same title, I mean, killing big bugs and aliens and having that first person, even though I'm not a first person shooter, like, it's a great concept, and I love Starship Troopers, so I would probably give it a play.
We reached out to you guys to see what you said as well. We have a few comments, so we'll see what that says.
What did you say? What did you say? Springfield, let's hear from you.
Over on our YouTube page, we did a reel, and we got a comment. Waves and games. I remember playing this at my friend Jason's house. I know we had a lot of fun, but was it a good game? I'll have to rent it again and find out. See if he rented it. And Matthew said, "Oh no, man. The controls in this game are such garbage though, bro. They were so awkward, and it was a shame, really. If this game controlled a little better, it could have been great. I will give a level or 2 just to go participate, but I won't like it."
but still played it.
but he still played it.
He still played it.
That's
And
awesome.
one from, I think we have Instagram, yeah, as well on our Instagram reel. Mort is stoked, so that's awesome. And then Ty's Gaming said, played this for a few hours, and I can honestly say I don't miss tank controls. I emulated this game and had a hard time with the controls, both as tank and inverted. However, getting past that, this game seemed like a lot of fun. It reminded me a lot of Earth Defense Force. If there was a better way to handle the controls, I think I would invest more time into this game. That kind of sums it up. Yeah, it said I was trying to I don't like when you hit down and it goes up, so I was trying to find
Yeah,
something to
yeah,
invert that, and there wasn't. So I'm like, all right, I'll get used to it. I
yeah.
was like, whatever.
Yeah, that threw me off too because I was expecting to be able to flip the controls like that, and you couldn't. Just if they could tweak the controls a little bit, even GoldenEye controls where you're moving with the analog stick and the auto aim's kind of snapping it in, and the C sticks are strafing. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that could have done so much for the game, but
It was
absolutely.
nice emulating it because I actually changed it so I had like my arrow keys, which would be your C's,
yeah,
as like moving around, and then I was just up and down and looking around with what would have been the joystick, right? So and it
that's
did make it a lot easier to kind of move and negotiate. I think from what I
that's
could tell
awesome.
from playing it, trying to play it the regular version.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, what do we got up for next week?
So guys, for next week, we're gonna play one of my favorite NES games, and that is River City Ransom on the Nintendo Entertainment System. So
Nice.
head down to the rental store and give it a play. It's a good one.
Give it a
I
play.
love Rob Lowe in that game. Look at that guy. Put the cover art up again. Look at him.
Yep,
Right?
yep.
Right there. It's 1,000% who it is.
Yeah, that's Rob
Uh,
Lowe.
I will never look at that cover again the same.
He's fresh off the
Neither.
set of like The Outsiders. Well, is he in The Outsiders?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, there he is. And they put him into River City.
Perfect.
Oh man, I'm never gonna look at it the same again now.
You're welcome, America and Canada.
Nice.
All right, guys, are you ready? It's time. Let's name that quote.
Hey, I bet you can't name that quote.
All right, so this week I'm excited. Mort is a movie guy, so I'm really excited for him to play along. We do have a theme this week. It is 80s crime movies. But don't overthink it either, though.
Okay.
Are we ready? We're going to go quote number 1. So I'm going to read the quote. If you guys don't get it, or
Play
even
the,
if you think you got it, we'll play the audio
Mhm.
and then you give us your answer. So the first one is from 1988. Yeah, check the probate. Why, my Uncle Thumper had a problem with his probate, and he had to take these big pills and drink lots of water.
Nothing's coming to mind to me.
I'm gonna
Jeez.
say, I'm gonna say The Land Before
No,
Time.
no, don't
Land
give your
Before
answer
Time.
yet. Don't give your answer yet.
Is it Batman Returns?
It is not Batman Returns. Let's play the quote.
Yeah, check the probate. Why, my Uncle Thumper had a problem with
Oh.
his probate, and he had to take these big pills and drink lots of water.
Roger freaking
Roger
Rabbit.
Rabbit.
Yeah,
There you go.
Nice.
I tried to make these ones fun for you guys. So
that's
it's
good.
technically an 80s crime movie.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll give
Technically,
you
yeah.
that. I was like, okay, Die Hard, Goodfellas.
I told you, don't overthink this. Don't
Yeah.
overthink it.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's dive into number 2 then. This one might be a little more difficult. This is from 1989. I don't know what's worse, getting blown up in a nuclear war or having a 7-Eleven on every corner.
Hmm. I almost feel like that could be the direction of Die Hard, but
Right?
Let's
will the
see.
audio give it away? I don't know.
I think I know this.
You think you do?
Yeah.
All right, well, hold that thought. Let's play the quote.
I don't know what's worse, you know? Being blown up in nuclear war or having a 7-Eleven on every corner.
I can't place the voice.
Yeah.
Is that
Um,
Christian
Does Keith
Slater?
know it?
No, I don't. Try to guess the
It's
voice.
it is Christian Slater.
it's Gleaming the Cube.
Yes!
Wow. That's a crime
thought-
movie?
I thought
Done.
Keith was going to get it.
I
It
haven't
is a
seen
crime
that one.
movie.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
haven't
it
seen
is.
that in years. Yeah.
yeah,
Good.
it's a crime movie because they go out, his brother gets killed, and then it's a
You
whole
said
thing.
don't think about it too hard, but then you're picking Gleaming the Cube. I mean,
Right?
Well, I meant don't read into 80s crime movies too deep. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
All right.
You know, like
yeah.
like Die Hard, you know, like that stuff.
Okay.
All right, so we'll go with that. So that's Brian Kelly, Christian Slater in Gleaming the Cube.
And Tony Hawk.
All right.
Right,
Yes,
Tony Hawk
and
was in it.
Tony Hawk is in that movie as well. All right, number 3, 1989. This one should be fairly easy for you guys. Now comes the part where I relieve you, the little people, of a burden of your failed and useless lives. But, as my plastic surgeon always said, if you gotta go, go with a smile.
Ah. Yes.
Play it. Let's hear it.
I got it.
And now comes the part where I relieve you, the little people, of the burden of your failed and useless lives. But as my plastic surgeon always said, if you gotta go, go with a smile.
Nice.
A Room with a View. I love that scene. They're looking out at the room, and they got a view, and they're looking out of it, and they say that. And when they said that, I thought that's why that movie won an Oscar. It's A Room with a View from 1986, one of the all-time classic crime movies. Great choice.
What is it?
Batman 89.
That's right. Said by the Joker, Jack Nicholson.
It wasn't Batman Returns, Keith.
It was not.
I tried really hard. I honestly thought it was going to be in here this week, but you just keep letting me down.
Oh man, I wish
Mort doesn't know the story about Batman Returns. Fill him in, Keith.
I don't know the story about Batman Returns, to be honest with you. I think it was something I just kept guessing.
Yeah, basically, Keith just kept guessing the same movie, and it was Batman Returns, and it just never was Batman Returns. So
Oh,
Keith has a tendency to guess Batman Returns on every single quote.
that's my kind of that's my kind of thing. I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I could have played this giving you the quotes. That would have been a lot of fun.
Ah, there's an
Next
idea.
time.
Yeah, I can give you a
The
couple
table's
right
turned.
now. That I
You
would
want to
love.
give us one now? Go ahead, give us one now.
Let me think. I had a good one queued up.
Just give us the year, and that's it.
Just give us all the information.
All the
Just give us
information.
all the information.
This will be a really good
So going to be
be a
Batman
really good
Returns.
primer to something that's happening in one of my videos coming up.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Let's see.
So it's going to happen in the future.
Yeah. Shoot. I don't know if this will work. There's too much cussing in this movie.
What the
David's got a
bleep?
movie.
bleep,
Watson has
bleep.
got a problem like that too.
White man can't jump.
No.
Major League.
Yeah, and there's also like certain lines when you hear it, you'll be like, I know exactly what that is. Yeah, and there says the name in it.
Are you trying to stump us? Is the question.
No, not at all. In fact, to join in. Shoot,
I'm very intrigued now.
man.
Russ, you're going to have to edit this one.
Leave a marker.
Beep, 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 beep.
Okay.
You got one?
I have to no, because then he starts cussing in Spanish. All right.
Right.
Hold on. Let's see.
Three Amigos.
Now you're close.
La Bamba.
Oh, I wanted to watch that recently.
Shoot. This is a. I don't mean to.
Machete.
Okay. All right. This will work.
Go
All
ahead.
right. This will work. One character says, "What do you do for recreation?" The response, "Oh, the usual. I bowl, drive around, the occasional acid flashback."
Can you give us the year?
The year of this is, let's see, what year is this? 1998.
I think I might know.
Okay.
I feel like if anyone's gonna know, it's got to be David.
Is it Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
No.
No.
Is it the Big Lebowski?
There it is.
That was my other guess.
Yeah, I was
Nice.
about. Everything is like, shut the f up, Donnie.
Yeah.
I'm the dude, Mr. Lebowski. I'm like, I can't pick a line, but
Yeah, without
right.
giving away.
Okay, I'm gonna show you this. I'm gonna spoil it for anyone else.
Go ahead.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna pull
Spoiler
something
alert!
up too.
Spoiler alert!
Who's it going to get? The big
We've lost our
Lebowski
guest. We've lost our
signed
guest,
bowling
guys.
ball.
There it is.
Quick! This is where they get the cane and they pull him back in, right?
We were at the swap meet, you guys, and there's a particular swap meet near us that is sort of it's the best. Anyway, it's a different one than what people normally go to out here. And
Secret swap meet.
walking by the booth, and cameraman Mike is with me, and he goes, "You're not going to get that sweater?" I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "That's the Lebowski sweater."
Wow.
Nice.
This is not just like it looks like the Lebowski sweater. This is the actual. Like, Russ, pull up a picture of Jeff Bridges wearing the Lebowski sweater. It's not hard to find if you just Google image search. It is the exact same pattern,
Wow.
for everything, and this company Pendleton reissued this sweater. This one is vintage, and so like we saw this, and I was like, I must have this. There it is, right there in the middle. See where he's laying with the purple shirt? Yep. Hey, look at this. Same exact pattern and everything. It is the same sweater. So
Wow.
Epic.
I freaked out when Mike pointed that out. I'm like, I have to have it. And so I went and snagged this thing. And
Nice.
So
much-
I don't know if you guys are gonna see this, but when I was on my road trip and we were headed back, we had stopped at this I think it might have been a Walmart. And we parked the car, and where we parked, I looked straight ahead. This is real. I don't know if it's a store or what, but it was in a plaza, and all of a sudden I see this in
Oh,
bright
yeah.
shining lights. It's just a picture of Jeff Bridges and says the dude abides.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Nice.
I don't know if it was a store, it was late at night, but
Or the
everything
new
happens
Batman.
for a reason. There you go.
The new Batman.
It's from Batman Returns.
Yeah. Yeah.
Finally.
Well, congratulations, guys. You nailed it. What's that, Mort?
I have to show you the other thing we found at that same game hunt, or maybe
Do it.
no, it was a different game hunt, but same swap meet.
That's a good one.
Captain N and the Game Master VHS.
Yes.
Excuse me, princess. Yeah, there it
That's
is.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Sweet.
That's super cool.
yeah. I think it was
So
like
congratulations.
We
You
did it.
guys nailed it. Mort, thank you. It was fun. I appreciate you giving us a quote as well.
Anytime I
week.
can be reminded of a room with a view, I'm in on that game. That's a
Wonderful movie.
yeah.
So we're jumping over to rad or bogus now. We're going to test our nostalgia and our connection to that and what we want to keep and what we want to throw. We're each going to pick a topic, and then there'll be two things in that topic. And we'll keep one. It's rad. We'll throw the other one away because it's bogus.
Bogus.
Nice. We're doing Mort first.
I don't know who wants to kick.
I'll go
things-
first.
Do more first.
All right, I have 2 N64 games.
Okay.
Okay.
How many times do we go around on this? Is one each?
Just the one. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, now he's got to think about it. You want us to come back?
Super Mario 64,
Okay.
Okay.
Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh.
One of them's rad, one of them's bogus.
So one of them will cease to exist, and one of them you keep.
And arguably one of them would not exist without the other. However, you know, there you go.
Semantics.
Yeah.
Who wants to take this one first?
Russ, what do you think?
I wish I played more of Banjo-Kazooie. I feel like I never rented it, or maybe it wasn't at Blockbuster when I was there. So I only played Mario 64, so I'll probably lean towards that. But I feel like Banjo-Kazooie was probably a lot more fun because you got the two character dynamic going on, and just seemed like, I don't know, a better story than the princess just getting kidnapped and you go get her from Bowser again. But I can't weigh in on how fun the gameplay is and all that. And I'm pretty sure, and they made more than one, right? They made Banjo Tooie as
Yeah.
well.
And they've only made one Mario game. And then no more after that one. So
Right.
Well, they made Mario games, just not a.
that was the joke.
Nope.
Yes.
Nope. That's it. That's gone.
That's it. Go on. So I guess I'm going Mario, Rad, Banjo-Kazooie, Focus, unfortunately.
All
How about
right.
you, Keith? What do you
I
think?
think I'd go the same. I have fond memories of playing Mario 64. And just for what it is, I think I would keep it as rad. I would be sad to see Banjo-Kazooie go away because I just got it recently and just have been playing it. And it's a super fun, super cool game. But I think I'd have to keep Mario as rad and Banjo-Kazooie is bogus, sadly. Mhm.
David?
So you could see my blank screen because I don't want to be seen when I answer this question. But I'm a Mario guy. I'm always going to be a Mario guy. So I'm sorry. I'm going to go Mario.
Yeah.
That's my
Uh,
thing.
It's this is one of the things that I'm not afraid to do is, to stand up in the face of wrongness. And I love Mario 64. Obviously, it's a great game. There's so much that's iconic about it. And you cannot it's hard to appreciate it without having been going from side-scrolling 2D to a real 3D game and it feeling great. And so Mario 64 is all time. It's legendary. It's a great speed running game. It's just a fun game no matter what, totally. But Banjo-Kazooie, the level design, the character in the world, and what you do in the game, there's certain levels on that I've practically memorized at this point just because they're so fun. They both have camera problems. They both have their things, but it's not just because of emotional memory, which I've gotten into a lot on my channel. It really is from a gameplay perspective. I truly, sincerely love Banjo-Kazooie more than I do Mario. And when they sort of did the quasi remaster upscale version or whatever that's on the Xbox 360, they fixed the one problem I had with the game, which is the notes reset when you leave the game. And yet now when you play it on the Rare Replay compilation or on the Xbox 360, you no longer have that issue. And so when you collect the note, it just stays collected. It makes it less annoying. And I think it's basically a perfect 3D game.
That's Banjo-Kazooie, right?
Kazooie.
Kazooie. Kazoon-tight.
Banjo-Kazooie. Yep.
Well, speaking of Mario 64, I don't know if you guys noticed. I just noticed a little Easter egg in the Mario Kart World commercial. I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but where you can kind of go off-roading and go off tracks and everything like that. There's a scene in the commercial where you can play as the penguin now that's not from Batman, but the penguin that's
Batman Returns.
It would be
Batman
cool.
Returns.
But the penguin from Mario 64, and there's a scene where the penguin goes flying off, making reference to Mario
dropping. Yeah.
Actually, did you know what influenced the penguin in Mario 64? Have you guys
No, what was
this?
that? No.
In A Room with the View, there's a scene where they're walking. there's a penguin, and the penguin is like, "I'm just a little penguin," and they're like, "You're annoying," and they throw him. And when Mario 64 does this callback to Oscar award-winning film A Room with the View, that is a reference right back to it.
That
Perfect.
I didn't know that. That's factual.
Yeah.
So write that down. Write that down.
Yeah, it's on the internet, therefore it's true. Yeah.
The more you know.
Yeah. Scorsese talks about it on the DVD commentary. He was brought in as a guest commentator on so
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right,
Keith,
so
what do you got?
I went with characters, which seems like a broad thing, but we're gonna go with Han Solo or Indiana Jones.
Oh,
one of them's gone. That's Harrison Ford, and the other one
man,
is here. So
who
it
would
could be the
play
same,
the part?
the same characters in the movie, but Harrison Ford is no longer that actor. He turned that movie down.
So we're removing Harrison Ford from the.
Which one would you keep as Harrison Ford as Rad, and which one would be fine? Because it'd be just bogus.
Okay. Who wants to start this one off?
I did last time, so someone else go.
All right, I'll start this one off. I feel, oh man, this one's hard.
That's why it's Rad and Bogus, baby.
This one's really hard. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm stumped.
Keith, that's a great one, man.
So the movie does not cease to exist, just not even the character. And the character's still there.
It's a Michael J. Fox Back to the Future situation.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so I'm trying to think of like who would play the role in either one.
Anybody. It's just not Harrison Ford.
Right.
I got my answer on this.
Okay, go ahead, Mort.
I'm gonna say that he stays in Indiana Jones and gets recast as Han Solo. The reason being that the character of Indy has the charm and some of the bravado of Han Solo, but there's a different kind of depth to Indy that I feel like is so uniquely owned in the way that Harrison Ford plays the role, to where, as he's doing what he's doing, it's harder for me to imagine a different actor. Like, would it be Robert Redford? Would it be, I don't know, but like Harrison Ford is so perfect. Han Solo's iconic. Harrison Ford plays him perfectly as well. You can't imagine anyone else. But the general charismatic, sort of overconfident pilot character, I think would be. You could maybe find some of those characteristics in another person more easily, not easily, but like more easily than I think some of the things that Indy does, in terms of even just the physicality of Indy versus the physicality of Han Solo. So he did stay frozen for 2 years, between shoots. That's probably a problem, but beyond that, I think like Han Solo is so great as Harris. It's hard to imagine anyone else, but I could see someone else who's very charismatic and bright being that character too.
Good answer.
That's a great answer. I think I've made my decision, and I think I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go with Mort on this for some of the same reasons, but also for the fact that Harrison Ford is more of a lead in Indiana Jones, and I feel that he is Indiana Jones. I mean, he's great as Han Solo, but that's an array of characters in that movie, or those movies, I should say. I do feel that I keep going back, and Russ, you know this scene, the one we were talking about where he goes on the blimp in The Last Crusade, when they get on the ship and then he tosses the guy out and he's like, no ticket. I mean, that scene in itself, I was like,
it's great.
Yeah, we need Harrison Ford in that movie.
Yeah.
So my deciding factor is the blimp scene from Last Crusade.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes. Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones.
Okay. I'll keep mine short and simple. I'll agree with Harrison Ford should stay in Indiana Jones and recast someone for Han Solo in Star Wars. I feel like more people could pick up that role and fit that role better. Where as Indiana Jones, maybe it wouldn't have been such the legacy it is in that character if it was someone else.
Great.
Keith's turn, though.
Agree. I completely agree. That's exactly what I was thinking. I could close my eyes and see someone else be Han Solo, but I can't close my eyes and see myself have Harrison Ford as anyone or Indiana Jones as anyone other than Harrison Ford. Just like you said, he fits. He is the character. The smile, the smirk, the attitude. He's Indiana Jones. It just fits perfectly.
Nice.
That was a great one.
So who would be another scruffy looking nerve herder?
Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yes, Michael J. Fox.
Eric Stoltz can go to that one.
You know, I think part of it too is it actually demonstrates something interesting, which is that Spielberg directs Indiana Jones and George Lucas does the first Star Wars at least. And I think that part of that, I wonder how much of that is Harrison Ford and how much of that is his being directed, and maybe how much better of a director Steven Spielberg is. I think George Lucas's world building and fantasy and everything is so supremely incredible. But as a director, especially you see it in the prequels, I don't think the performances that he gets out of the actors are baffling to me. Like it's comically bad to me. And so I wonder if Han Solo was directed a little differently, if we'd be having a harder time making this decision, even though he's so great already as it is. It's not like he was bad acting, but I just
Awesome.
Am I up?
Sure.
Okay. I guess I'm up. I went with something a little different this week. I'm going with creatures. So we're going to talk about creatures. So my two creatures that you have to decide on are critters or mogwai.
Friendly or scary?
Eat your face off.
Well, not all mogwai are friendly.
Well,
because
will they turn into a gremlin? Wouldn't that be a separate creature, right?
Well, no, because if you remember in Gremlins, when Gizmo gets water, he does spawn the villain Mogwai that then turn into the villain Gremlin.
Okay. Because then they ate the chicken after? Or whatever,
right after. Well, not necessarily chicken, but they ate after midnight.
Right.
Yes. So, like, for instance, if Gizmo were to eat after midnight, Gizmo would probably still be good, I would think.
Okay.
But, like, if you remember the movie, there was a Stripe Mogwai that would turn into Stripe, the gremlin.
Gotcha.
So they're both evil, or they both could be evil, but yes. So Mogwai or critters?
Mogwai are so cute. I'm keeping Mogwai. Mogwai are rad because they're cute. And the other one's gonna eat my face. I ain't sleeping. If I got a Mogwai in the house, I'm probably sleeping like a baby. If I got a critter in the house, I am not sleeping. It's gonna eat my face.
Okay.
It's true. It's true.
I do like your face.
I know, right? I took a lot of work. It takes a lot of work to look this good. I was in makeup before we started for hours.
Keith, I was going to say it's effortless, brother. I don't know.
I wish.
All right. Russ, what do you think?
It's been so long since I've seen critters. I could picture them on the cover.
Okay.
They're pretty scary and iconic, but again, I'll probably go with the Mogwai being that much more iconic and a little bit more depth into them, right? They could be fun, they could be scary, they could have a little bit more personality to them, setting them apart. Where I feel like the critters are just eating faces, right? So the critters are bogus.
Okay.
I'm also going to go Mogwai, but also because there's a secondary dietary benefit, which is that if you do have to blend them in a smoothie, we know that that's possible based on what we've seen in the movie Gremlins when they get blended.
Mhm.
I think
Yep.
that we don't know, for example, if there's hidden health benefits in a blended gremlin. And I think that that's something that is really left out of this conversation. So if things go bad, there could be health benefits. So I'm picking the Mogwai.
Okay.
Nice.
Like if
Also
your
in the-
fridge is empty, you're safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apocalyptic times, we can have them just throw some water on them, make some more of them, and then throw them in a blender. And I think like there's some real pluses to that.
Chef's kiss. I like it.
Yeah. Plus, I've never seen
Uh,
critters, so there's that.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So guys, I simply can't decide. So I'm gonna bring my friend in here, and
David's always making the rules up as
I'm
we
gonna
go.
blend the
What?
two.
Ah,
Wow!
combined.
Good God.
Nightmare.
Wow.
So
kill.
I'm gonna have a Mogwai critter
So you put
Hybrid.
both in the blender.
hybrid. Yes,
Look
you
at
put
that.
them both in a
See,
blender,
there's
and
our
this is what
answer.
you
There
get.
is a hidden benefit.
You have a Krogwai. That's
A
beautiful.
So there
I
you
am not
go.
sleeping tonight.
That
At
grin. Good God.
This is a custom critter Mogwai made by artist Mike Skaggs.
Wow.
And I also own a critter My Pet Monster version where it has the purple and red fur. So I got this while I was away. It came in the mail, and I was like, you know what? Rat or bogus right here, buddy.
There we go.
So he will be
Can we-
co-hosting the rest of the show.
No, can we put him away or I will not sleep? Put him back in his
There
cage.
you go.
Wow. Love to see it.
This is something that was not on your bingo card, was it?
No,
No.
but I appreciate that it's now something I've experienced.
Nice.
That's
Good
what you
one,
get.
good one.
That's what you get here. I
That's
like the
great.
weird and unusual things.
Oh, I love it.
All right, I'll keep it more lighthearted here. I'm going to go music on my route. We're going to have two soundtracks to choose between. Both, I think, are pretty fantastic and iconic. We're putting The Crow soundtrack
Oh.
versus Mallrats soundtrack.
Oh.
Hopefully, you guys maybe seen those movies and know the music in there.
I know
Lot-
both of those soundtracks very well.
Yep, got them both. I'll say it with myself, I was very excited. There was a Bush song on the Mallrats soundtrack that wasn't on any of their albums, so I was like super
Mhm.
excited to be like, oh man, cool, gotta grab this.
I already know my answer. So the Crow soundtrack, that was a little bit more darker, like heavier music, right?
Yeah, grungy, more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
grungy. Yeah,
The
yeah.
Cure is on there. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, the Cure is super metal.
Well, you said darker, Vince.
Yes. So I'm going with Mallrats. I also I have the soundtrack on CD. There was a time before iPods and all of that stuff where we had digital, physical media. And I would say that the coolest part about the soundtrack too is it had the little movie clips of the quotes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it also had a Weezer song on there that
Yes,
was exclusive
Suzanne.
to the soundtrack.
That was a good song.
There was like 20 something tracks on that thing.
Mhm.
It was great. So I'm gonna go with. Oh, and then on the cover they had the magic eye.
Right, that you can see the
Yeah.
picture or whatever.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Mallrats.
Okay.
Hmm.
Who's ready? More or Keith? Still debate.
Mark, go ahead.
Sure. Okay. Well, I would say that I'm probably gonna have to go with this is tough. I'm gonna say Mallrats because there's a song called "Taken with a Grain of Salt," and salt is generally something I prefer on my food as a extra element, and so I like being reminded of it. You know, like if I have chips and there's not enough salt, a grain of salt or two extra will really improve the meal. And so for that reason, I'm gonna say Mallrats. As far as The Crow is concerned, I'm generally not a fan of snakes or driving, and there's a song called Snake Driver on it. And so for that reason, I'm going
Fair
Mallrats.
enough.
I wish I knew the soundtracks to these movies better. I'm looking at the track listing right now, and actually, I think I would lean more towards Mallrats anyways, but I'm going to go.
Fair
You want some, I got some salt for you.
Only a grain, please. Only 1 grain.
1 grain of salt.
Yeah.
That's like
I'm
in
going
I'm thinking dirt. Never
Mallrats
mind.
as well.
Dirt. You're gonna go
I was-
Mallrats, Suki?
Yeah. I'm going Mallrats. And same as Mort, I've got the track list up here. I'm going with Mallrats solely because 17 is on here by Sponge. Sponge does Cloud. Cloud is an awesome song. So for that reason and that reason alone, Mallrats.
Nice.
That's great.
And I summed it up too. I chose Mallrats as well because Bush is one of my favorite bands growing up, and to hear them on there was awesome. Again, the Weezer and the comments from like the quotes from the movies coming through just really sealed the deal. Great soundtrack for sure.
On it.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
get that soundtrack. Just put it on Spotify playlists and listen to that soundtrack.
It
Will be
seems like
disappointed.
it's like the alt kids versus the goth kids here on
Right.
this. So, which interestingly, little fact about the Mallrats soundtrack, the song 17 is also in A Room with a View.
It is, isn't it?
Yep. Remember the
Right
scene?
after they see, the room with the view.
Yeah, they're in the room. They're at the hotel,
Yeah.
and they said, "I want the room with the view." They go to the room with the view, and then what song do they put on? 17 by Sponge. And Helena Bonham Carter turns around and says, "I love this song." And rumor has it Kevin Smith was watching the movie and said, "This is a great song," and that's how it ended up in the movie.
It actually inspired the whole movie of Mallrats. He's like, I have to write a movie and put this song in it.
Yeah, because they're
Room
like
with a
in the mall. In the mall, there are no rooms and very little amount of views.
Zero.
Very true.
Zero
Very true.
on the exit door or the atrium.
Yeah, so good.
But none of the songs were in Batman Returns.
Batman Returns.
Blast it.
That had a great soundtrack too, didn't it? Batman Returns.
The first Batman. It was all written by Prince.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. What's the one that had which Batman soundtrack had like Rage Against the Machine and stuff on it? Am I thinking of the right movie?
Oh, that might have been like Batman Forever.
Okay. All right.
That was like the later ones when they did they had Seal on it, and
That's what I was
U2
thinking.
was also a track.
I remember that was such a big deal when some top 40 band was on the soundtrack. That was a huge marketing point for those movies. Yeah.
Or even
though
like the music videos too, like helped promote the movie.
But even though sometimes the songs that were on the soundtracks weren't even in the movies.
Well, I remember I would sneak over to my friend's house to watch MTV because we weren't allowed to watch it in my home. And one of my favorite things was watching music videos of movies because I was like, it made the movie seem that much cooler because it was like your favorite hair metal band, but like 2/3 of the video was scenes from, A Room with the View or whatever movie was popular at the time. So, yeah.
It's like when Becky watches baseball highlights. She's like, man, they should just like play loud music while I watch baseball because it looks so much better.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice. All right, before we get on to the main topic, we're going to take a quick commercial break.
We believe there are 5 perpetrators. I've never seen anything like it. There's fruit everywhere. Look what they did to my taxi.
Donkey Kong is back in an adventure so big, it's taking the country by storm.
In reaction, the governor has called in additional troops.
We believe one of them looks like this.
They're just not civilized.
We urge caution, and they are heavily armed with fruit.
I'd like to tell you the situation is under control, but it isn't.
This turbocharged game has better graphics, more moves, bigger bosses, huge worlds. It's so big we included an expansion pack to get it all in.
They didn't even tip me.
And now, this. Donkey Kong 64. And you crazy.
Heaven help us all.
Hey guys, did you know that we're offering channel memberships to help support the show? $1 gets you early access to videos, loyalty badge, and custom emojis. $3 gets you members only live streams, shout outs, and the Warpipe rental employee package. That's going to include a custom sticker, button, and membership card. With the Warpipe rental employee card, you'll be able to choose rentals for us to do on the show, including movies and video games. And during our once a month live stream, you guys will be able to chat with us while we're recording the episode. So consider signing up today to support the show and jump in the Warpipe with us every Saturday at 9 a.m.
All right, back from commercial break. Getting into the main topic here. We got Mort on the show. We want to talk about collecting. The process of collecting full sets for a single system, because Mort, as you can see behind him, has an entire Nintendo 64 set in the box too, all complete in the box.
Impressive.
Look at that.
Complete
all the yellow
collection.
Doing some
It
dancing.
is a sight to behold. And the N64 games look really cool too.
That's something.
Look at that class act. One of the games that we want to highlight here on the N64, classic but beloved by children, Armorines.
Armorines.
There it is.
How
Oh,
about that? Nice.
How many games is that system?
296, I believe.
296. And are you still missing any?
Yeah, kind of. It depends on how you define a full set. So there's the full North American set, I believe, is 296. There's a couple of variants that are slightly different versions of the games. Turok Rage Wars, the gray cartridge, not PAL, but US. If you get this, the original one's black. This gray one fixed a glitch that made the co-op version of the game unbeatable. You could not finish the game in co-op because of a glitch. So you could send your black one over to Acclaim. They would send you this gray one, and it would be fixed. So that's one example. There's also a WWF game that I don't have that's it's known as the -1 variant. If you look at the bottom of the cartridge, at the sticker, it says -1. That has some fixes to that game as well. But if you don't count that stuff, you just count the regular retail release. I have them all. And I should say there's only one other exception, which is in Brazil. It's technically an NTSC variant of a racing game that they have that Retro Rick has showed it off at his videos before as well. It's like a Formula One game, I think. I don't have that one. It's worth a couple $100. It's a regular NTSC cartridge. And yeah, that's the other one. But my long-winded way of saying I have the full retail set. Complete in box.
Nice. Fantastic.
Wow. That's crazy. So can I ask you a question about that Turok then? Is the gray cartridge more rare because maybe people didn't send the cartridge in?
Yeah, there's not a lot of them out there. I could only estimate, and I wouldn't want to give a number guess, but it can't be much. And so when they do pop up or where they are for sale on eBay, they usually sell for last time I checked, like $400 to $500.
Wow. Okay. And the black card is how much does the black card typically go for?
$10.
Wow.
Quite a difference. Yeah.
Damn you, variants. Didn't Nintendo know anything about DLC back then?
No kidding. You couldn't download anything on your N64. It was so
They could
stupid.
have just patched it.
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
Yeah.
Day one patch.
Yeah, these kids today don't know how good they have it. You know, they don't have to buy $400 Rage Wars variants. They want their full Rage Wars experience. Actually, it's legitimately a super fun game. One of my favorite sort of multiplayer games on N64 is Turok Rage Wars. And it was a lot of fun to play with friends. But yeah, I have so much. I wish I could sit down and play more of these games. I legitimately love to grab a random game off of the shelf and play it. The other day I was playing, of all games, All-Star Baseball 2000, which is a random sports game. But my brother,
that's a good one though.
well, my brothers loved baseball sims growing up, particularly my next youngest brother. And so he would, every Christmas I would ask for the new Mario game or the new whatever, GoldenEye or whatever, and he would be like, "I want the new All-Star Baseball or Ken Griffey Jr. Game." And so he's just a baseball fanatic. So I have a soft spot in my heart for those games. They're great baseball sims for their time. They definitely show their age, but yeah, I legitimately I I don't know if I've played every game on the console, but pretty close.
Nice.
And what
And by
was
console,
your
you mean the N64, right?
Correct.
what was your thought process when you decided this was the system that I want to have all the games for? Like, what pushed you in that direction?
I blame Retro Liberty at the time. Um, I became friends with Aaron or Riff, and way back when, and I had I basically kept when I bought N64 games. I so enjoyed keeping the boxes and artwork that I had probably 2 dozen, maybe more or so that I'd kept because I would get them on clearance at Target or wherever else. And all of the games were just stored and kept in their boxes. And then once how fun all this collecting stuff was, I was like, I need a goal, and my goal was I'm gonna get the full library because why not? That sounds fun. I love this. It's the console that got me into being someone who loves to play video games, a gamer, whatever you want to say, and then ultimately really a collector. And so I still genuinely get a feeling of joy when I can grab an N64 box and read the back and all of that. It was just a fun thing, and the library of 296 relative to console libraries is not as hard to get as like the PS2 or the Wii or some of the other consoles that have over 1,000 games in them. So it's still admittedly obviously excessive, but I had so much fun doing it, and I would say some of these games are from my most I don't know, I wouldn't say most, but there are game boxes up there that I've had since 1990 something. So
Oh
technically,
wow,
it took me
nice.
30 years to get this. It wasn't something I did in a year or in a few months or something.
Right, right.
Oh,
What
Yeah.
were what were some of the last games needed to collect this set, and did you get them at like conventions? Did you do any of the routes like, oh, just pick it up eBay and kind of knock it off that way?
Yeah. So there's this I just posted a couple videos on my channel about this. One was kind of answering the most common questions I've gotten about collecting an N64 set. I go into a little bit more depth there than I'll go here just for sake of time. And then the other one was I just put out a video a couple days ago getting into some of these things about being a collector. I would say that some of the most surprisingly difficult game to find. Well, there's a surprisingly difficult games and then complete in box games because I was going for complete in box. There's a few boxes up here that were actually fairly challenging to find. One is NBA in the Zone 2000. Most sports game it's a later release game on the N64. Most sports gamers didn't save boxes the way that like Mario 64, people would save that box. That was one of the hardest ones to find. The other one, probably the hardest game for sure, was Super Bowling complete in box. That's right when the pandemic hit, and um I mean it was almost instantaneous. I had Stunt Racer 64. I got it for $30, however many years ago, which it's now like $1,000 plus for that game, I think. And but at the time I was like, oh man, like every last sale was like it would make $100 more than the one before it, or
Oh,
$200. And I was like,
just climbing.
"Ugh, I'm gonna get this before it goes too crazy." And sure enough, I think I spent like $1,000 on the complete in box version. I don't remember how much. I sold the cartridge almost immediately, got a bunch of money back,
Mhm.
and then kept the box manual, kept my cartridge. And then like the next sale was like almost double what I paid. Like,
Wow. Okay.
I mean,
wow.
I might be exaggerating a little bit, but it was like I'm glad I got it when I did, even though it was admittedly quite the spend.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Gee.
Yeah.
And
I
there's
know
like
way too much about this console and this and
it's good because like I'm sure like here we don't know a lot. Like, I'm a Nintendo collector, so
right.
I don't know a lot about the N64. I know a little bit, but it's always fun to watch you talk about it because that's like your wheelhouse. And it's cool to see and hear, right? So I
Yeah.
appreciate that you know way too much about it.
um, yeah, it's so fun having a hobby and doing things like getting on a podcast with your friends and talking about and loving all this old stuff,
Mm.
for all of the reflective nature of what I do with my channel. I don't want to leave out the part that's like, well, yeah, but this is also just a lot of fun too.
Mhm.
And the N64, I've used this metaphor a lot, but as like a general assessment, it is the middle school child of video game consoles. It's the dawn. You can see so much in it that's like it's like you think of like when like my band in middle school, it was like, oh wow, like you can play drums. You're not like a great drummer yet, but like you definitely have talent showing through. That's why I feel like the N64 was like there's all this potential as we transition from 2D to 3D. And it's like there's some ideas here. That's a good start. Let's see where this goes next. And then all of a sudden, even PS1, which is the same era, the early CG, is really rough, but you could see that there's something there. The idea of CG mixed in with games in the way that they do it, like it's there. And so for that reason, I think like there's a historical element of the sort of evolution of technology that's fun to go back
Yeah.
to, even when people do N64 style 3D platformers on the Switch. There's a few like callbacks to that style where they intentionally make the textures muddy and all that, and blocky,
Okay.
and like it has a really particular identifiable look that I just find so immediately charming.
Yeah, I've
Nice,
always
nice.
felt that too, right? Like, especially with the Nintendo, like a lot of us that are kind of our age, we're all quite similar here. But like childhood was the original Nintendo Entertainment System, right? Like we
Yeah.
were just learning. That was like us growing and developing, and then the Super Nintendo was those formative years up till puberty, and
Yep.
then the N64 is that puberty going from those, you know, kind of kiddie animations and those smaller into stuff like you're talking about Turok and stuff like that, going from stuff on the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo that was Nintendo was super strict about everything they were seeing, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden this puberty, this maturity started happening, and we were all along for the ride. It like kind of goes along with a lot of our growth, right? And our maturing in puberty for people, right? And then we're
Totally.
into this fancy stuff after with the Xbox and GameCube and all that stuff where it really went, and all of a sudden we're all adults in that
It's
era of gaming.
totally, it's so interesting because every time a new console would come out back in that time, um, I hate to sound like the old man, but back in my day, but there was something about like every time a new console would come out and you would start to see screenshots for it, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get to see and play that. And that's not what anything that I have for video games looks or feels like right now.
Mhm.
And then right around that, like, sort of, I would say maybe going from 360 PS3 to PS4, you get diminishing returns on that feeling and
Mhm.
of like photorealism and stuff. And then now with Switch 2 coming out, which granted Switch 2 is very much like Nintendo's philosophy all along, which is like, they're a little bit more lateral moving and more feature heavy than they
Yeah.
are anything else. But like if when PS6 comes out, I can't imagine being like, I'm sure it will look really cool. But I don't when it comes out, I'll be 50 years old probably. I don't know if I'm like, first of all, ready to
Where are
say
they
that out.
gonna go?
Where are you gonna go? And also, I don't know that that's a good thing either. Like I think like what you can do from like a interactive element with gore and with violence. I mean, yes, I'm a
Mhm.
parent of 9-year-old children, but like I don't know that all that like super photorealistic stuff, which you can still get now, is a good thing. So that's just
Yeah.
me.
No, I agree.
Mort, I got a question for you.
Yes.
You said that you've been building the N64 collection for close to 30 years, right?
Yeah.
What is the thought process of when you go to cons or you go to shows where you have the opportunity to pick up games and maybe they're you're waiting on a certain price point or just like the process of setting the goal of maybe what to pick up. I know that Keith, he's going for the complete NES set, but he has goals per year of like certain games to go after and setting a certain budget. What was your process with kind of going that route?
Well, it's true, but also slightly misleading that it took 30 years. I wasn't actively hunting for 30 years for these games. It took me about, I would say, of actively trying to do it, maybe like I think maybe 10 years, is what it took in terms of what was there. I'll always look for good deals, good trades, all that kind of stuff. Right now I'm enjoying it's about to be revealed on the channel what the new thing is that I'm going for. It's a big element of the N64, something that is alluded to at the end of my last game hunting video. But there's something I think like you're always trying to look for good deals. You're always trying to find the thing that is a good price. But um, well, ultimately, it was just like I used to kind of say like, well, once a month I'll let myself spend a little bit extra money on one game, complete in box, and that was one of the ways I did it. I think I'm answering your question right. I don't know, but you
Yeah.
correct me. But then also like kind of at some points it was like I'm in this deep, I kind of need to finish it, and that's why I was spending so much on the last few games and the manual, which I spent a year talking about on my channel. But but besides that, like I think like it was just kind of knowing when the price was right and all that stuff. I couldn't imagine like today if I was going for a full 360 set, the amount of like gosh, games that there are and things to know,
Yeah.
I know so much about 296 games. I couldn't imagine knowing so much about 1,000 games. They just
Right. Right.
mind blowing. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
So with getting to the tail end of the collection, you said that you spent a little bit more money in the later, kind of finishing it up. Did you get to a point where you were just like, I'm gonna spend the extra money. I don't want this to get extended much longer. Like where you were just kind of done with the mindset of let's just get this done instead of dragging it out longer?
yeah, I kind of had the opposite reaction. I wanted to get it done because I saw what the prices were doing, and I didn't want to
Okay.
get stuck behind a $5,000 video game.
Mm.
Which the manual is part of a $5,000 to $10,000 video game, but for the other stuff, it was like Super Bowling was a few $100s, and then it felt like 6 months later it was $1,000, and now it's like even more than that.
Wow.
And so I kind of was like, I just need to get these. I don't see them. Here we go. And that was one of the drivers of reselling, was to put it right back, the profits right back into building a collection, which I think many people do.
Mhm.
But yeah, I had the opposite reaction where I kind of was grieving a little bit. I was like, I'm gonna miss this. I'm
Yeah.
gonna miss going to conventions and like, looking for one of the 100 games I have left and
Right, right.
being stoked on a great price or a super generous person hooking it up or whatever. And even still to this day, when I'm like, I was just at a swap meet recently, and they had box 1064 games out, and they were at a great price. And I bought a couple of them to resell, to kind of put towards the new stuff. But I was like, oh, I kind of miss when I used to add these into the collection. Which I
Right.
know some people would be like, why don't you save them for other people? But at the same time, it was like, I don't know, there's something about like kind of missing it. And at the same time, I don't have any desire to go get a bunch of NES or Super Nintendo games or Genesis games to relive that. It's just sort of was like, oh, the N64 is the console that meant the most to me. So that's where it sort of lands.
And
Nice.
you mentioned missing a couple of like the I don't know what you call it. You have the complete basic 296 games, but then there's like variants and things like that that you're still looking for.
Yeah.
Are you going after those?
Yeah. I if I find WWF No Mercy -1 at a swap meet, like I'm gonna grab it. If I don't, I could one day see myself spending a few $100s on it just because I've done that before and it's part of the fun of all of this. And as long as it's reasonable within my financial means in terms of reselling or whatever else. But I just think the reason that people think folks are out game hunting is to get and play every game, and I would say most game collectors are not totally there. It's mostly it's part of the fun of the hobby is just going out and seeing all this stuff and talking to people. And like if the thing that is part of that, in terms of the money we put into this economic system of retro games is like taken out, like many people would be thrilled because it's like, cool, it's just about playing the games, which arguably it should be. But at the same time, there's something about like going and like finding a deal and seeing your friends who got a great deal. I mean, Keith, I remember like
Right.
at SoCal, like seeing you grab some of the games that you were getting and going like, these are the ones whoops, there's the big ones on my list or whatever. I think like that's so fun. It's so fun to see all that stuff. And so I don't know, whatever, however you get involved in this world of it, I think it's great. And so I feel like, shoot, can I still be a part of all of this if I'm like really downsizing, not trying to build up? So I don't know. A couple of things that I'm doing right now is I'm collecting the Player's Choice boxes just because why not? It's fun. And like some of that kind of stuff. But I'm by no means putting myself under a deadline or a timeline or like, oh man, this game's normally $150, but I'm going to get it for 120 because it's a good deal. To me, it's just more like, oh, that would be fun to put whatever towards that. So I don't know. I don't know. It's just such a nice. It's a good thing, I think, as men, as people, men and women, to have a hobby, and have something that brings people together and has this little sense of community to it. And this happens to be one of mine.
I have one last question for you. Through the entire process, I'm sure you've seen things, the ebbs and flows of like prices dipping, raising, all that stuff. How do you see the future of collecting a full set of a given system, or do you have any advice to somebody that's looking to get a complete set of maybe what the process to look out for?
I think you have to look. You can
I need
predict.
advice.
Keith needs help.
I need
We all
help.
do. He's just the wise enough to admit it. Because yeah. But as far as advice, the only advice I would say is just be patient. Feel no pressure and be patient to enjoy the ride. Because when it's over, like we're ultimately talking about finite amounts of games, even if there are many of them. There's still a point where like you can't look for Little Samson anymore or whatever. Like you'll eventually find it, and then it'll be done. And there's a part of it that's like just enjoy it, enjoy the fun of it, and however long that it takes to get it, then great. As far as predicting the future, I think that you can look at the past as a way of seeing predictions of the future. And from the past, I've learned that if retro usually counts as about 20 years ago or so. And if you look at what was popular 20 or so years ago, I've mentioned this too on the channel, 20 years ago or so, is 360 Wii PS3 games. When James Rolfe made the Angry Video Game Nerd, he was talking about games that were 20 years old, which were NES games, and you could sort of see how like that was considered retro, but now what's retro and what happens to retro over time is the prices usually go up. There's like only a certain period of time where they're going to be fairly cheap, which right now would be like PS4 games, Xbox One games are dirt cheap, for the most part. Wii U games are basically like I can't give them away in some cases. But
Get ahead of it.
well, they've been remade too, like for Switch, so they're kind of and they're better versions on the Switch, so they're kind of pointless in some regards, even with the touchscreen. But I think like the big factor is this: I think the Switch 2 is the final uh the final the final platform we'll see with physical media to it. There's not a doubt in my mind that everything from here on out is going digital, and I think Switch 2 will go to all digital at some point during its life cycle, if I had to predict it.
Wow.
I think companies like Limited Run Games and Strictly Limited will have to figure out ways to celebrate these things that you love without actually giving you the game, and it will be a different thing entirely to have a collector's edition without the game, which will be interesting what they do with their business model and how they evolve with their fans. I also think it makes a lot of sense. Our ability to store games is getting easier on the size of storage capacity we can have. And so it makes more sense to just I'm going to play this game now, pause, play the game rather than get up off your couch and go grab the other game or whatever else. And so I think uh, that we're going to that. So in terms of what does that mean? Does that mean that physical will become more expensive the way that like vinyl records have had their resurgence and become more
Mhm.
expensive because you can't appreciate a game the same way, or excuse me, music the same way as you can when it's on vinyl or whatever, because there's something about the
Right.
process of removing it from the sleeve and hearing the crackle, on the record player. And I wonder if we'll kind of have some of that attitude come in to to things in the future. I also think all of the stuff inherently deteriorates. Nothing is infinite, so all video games, all your everything, moth and rust destroy at some point. And so I think at some point I wonder if we'll start seeing a lot of repro discs and people will be more clinging to cases and manuals because discs will be deteriorating and all of that stuff. I wonder if that will be what the future looks like. I wonder if like cartridges like for me, a lot of times I will play the authentic cartridge, but sometimes I have an emulated cartridge with every game on it, which I can have legally because as a backup because I have all the games.
Every one of them.
Don't tell anyone about mine.
Just to be clear, Johnny Law, but I also sometimes love to just throw that in and select a game, and I wonder if like people I wonder how people will respond to that. So yeah, I don't know. There's so many things. I get a little bit loathsome of people who are like, this is what's going to happen without any serious data to back it up. But
Yeah.
I think if the past is any indication, we're at the 20-year mark where I thought that for sure the Wii would be the new NES for sure, because every kid in the 80s, it seems like every boy anyway seemed to have a Nintendo. And it seems like every family had a Nintendo Wii, and because nostalgia drives our desire to buy these things again, everyone is going to be nostalgic for that Wii remote and those games that they played in their childhood. And I think that like we're at the age where like, all right, like is Wii stuff going to start going crazy? Because I also think, and I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot. You guys just cut me off at any point, please.
No, this is great. I'm learning so much.
Well, I'll say this. I think more so than 360 and PS3, the Wii is the last truly collectible console outside of DS and 3DS, because I think only one or a handful of games have an actual update. Zelda Twilight Princess being one of them. Or not Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword. Um, Beyond that, everything else, what's on the disc is what's on the disc, and there's not updates and stuff. Before that, or after that, every game's got a downloadable update. Every game's got a patch. Every game's got something on part of the game on the disc. The other part you got to download. And so I don't think the discs make as much sense. I got the physical editions of the games because I could get them cheaper because someone would resell it used for cheaper than what it was selling for on the PlayStation Store or whatever else. But I don't know. So if people are like missing physical media, I think we all might be sitting on gold mines. But if also people might be like, why do you have all that crap? I was talking with a friend, a mentor, and he was describing this uh, friend of his who collected trains, and this guy's an octogenarian, and he has his whole upstairs of his house was just trains going everywhere, like
Okay.
and rooms of trains. You
Mhm.
know, it's this equivalent of a garage of collectibles, or a room of a game room or whatever. That was his
Mhm.
house. He did, and he remembers just kind of going like, it wasn't a shame thing at all. It was just kind of like, yeah, like when you die, like your family's got to like get rid of all this crap, you know, and like
Mhm.
it's so burdensome to the family. And I was like, don't say that, you know, like this is so my kids will enjoy it. And it's like, no, it's not. It's
Right?
because you enjoyed
Yeah,
collecting,
right.
you know, like be
Right.
real, you know. So I don't know. I there's a lot of things. The point of it all is underneath all of it, are you having fun? Does it feel like a burden? Is it costing you? I, we all have heard stories of people where it cost them relationships and it cost them financially. And those are signs when it's time to go, hold on. Like the collection owns me. I don't own the collection. And I think those are the times when it's really worth thinking about what to do next, which was not your question, but I still went there anyways.
No, it's great. And I find it very
Perfectly fine.
interesting that you made two points though, and that is that I didn't even think about like with Wii about maybe being the last console without updates. Is that what you said?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Where it
yeah.
has,
Where you can buy the game and it's all there, and even if your Wii is not connected to the internet, you'll still get the same experience.
and then the other thing too is you made mention about limited run games where maybe they go digital, but isn't the whole purpose of limited run games to give you those physical copies?
Yeah. So I think this the switch to having a cartridge slot bought limited run games another 5 or 10 years of doing
Mm.
business, at least on the Switch. Certainly PS5 and Xbox One is like, we don't care. Like, are you going to subscribe to our service or not? Like, they,
Got it.
you know.
Got it.
But I think that like for I don't know, like what do you do like when you're a game company? It's like physical forever, and it's like physical is forever done. What do you do? Like you know,
So essentially, limited run could just stop making PS games and Xbox games because those systems will go completely digital and then just stick with the Switch, essentially, right?
a friend of mine works for Bungie, and we were talking about this. He actually gave me one of the coolest things I have in my collection, which is they made Titanfall 1 and Titanfall 2 exclusive consoles for the development team, and he gave me one of those. And so I have one of each, and it's amazing. But we were talking about this. Sorry, I just had to flex on that because it's so cool. Uh, he was saying, as someone you know in the games industry, they look at physical media as kind of like, how do I say this? They kind of look at it as like people will be buying the collectibles and stuff around it because and I think it doesn't make sense with the internet and everything to have to do physical anymore. Like the reason we have physical media is because we needed a means of distributing distribution. But if the internet was always there, we would have never probably had physical media at all because we
Mm.
have a delivery service that cuts out the middleman and
Mhm.
people can make more money. I also think that there's something about valuing the shopper's experience and valuing the walking into a Best Buy or to a Toys R Us or to wherever and seeing the game on the shelf and reading the box or whatever else and buying something you didn't know you wanted. And then also like digital storefronts have so much garbage on them, but I don't know. I've been talking a lot. I really feel conscious of this right now. I'm curious what you guys think is going to happen going forward.
I want to see what we got for comments. Did we get any comments on this, Russ?
Yeah, we had a few comments for sure, so we could jump over to that. Yeah. Let's see. Let me get my little.
What did you say? What did you say?
Springfield, let's hear from you.
We got over on our YouTube community page. Another bald nerd says, when I first started really getting back into retro gaming and collecting again, it was about 2014 and started watching channels like Retro Liberty, Game Chasers, Happy Console Gamer. It reignited the passion for those older games. In the beginning, I wanted to discover all the cool and fun games I missed out on. I never had a PS2 or Xbox, etc. It was finding stuff for really good deals. The problem is being an adult with a family and responsibilities, I don't have as much time. as I would like to play games or even enjoyable hobbies like reading. I ended up selling a good portion of stuff when moving across country. Now I've mainly been collecting for Switch, getting back some of my childhood games, and then just limiting myself to a specific number of games to collect for specific consoles in general. I have an audio cassette wall mounted rack that I put Genesis, Master System, and Famicom carts in. If their respective row or column is filled, then I'm done. Or I need help trade off, swap things around. Other than that, I focus on games that I can play with my family and enjoy those experiences. Well said.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Gamer Aimer. What's up, Brandy?
Love Brandy.
I love full set collecting.
No kidding.
I'm 19 Japanese games away from a worldwide N64 set. I'm
Wow.
actually actively collecting for the SNES, NES, and GameCube. Really a ton more. I have several full sets and love the history, accessibility to play or have that for others when they visit. I'm currently collecting kiosks and other promo items as well. If only that could count as a full set of collecting. I need to
Talk
visit her
about a
house. Jeez.
talk about a
Doesn't she
flex.
flex? Right?
We got Jebber Gaming Jaws. I completed the North American Wii U set back in 2021. It was the perfect console for me to complete. Nintendo small library, and I was in on it when the games were completely cheap. Lots of fun.
You know, if I can say something about that really quick,
Yeah.
I remember when people were really hyped on collecting for the Wii U, and some of it was speculation that these games are just going to get more expensive. The exact opposite happened. All of those
Mm.
libraries, I think, got cut in half because I don't think people anticipated that Nintendo and other brands would bring over the Wii U games to other platforms. Like the Wonderful 101 got a remaster as well, and got brought. So as far as the remaining exclusive, I have like 15 Wii U games or something like that, and even some of those I might still get rid of because there's I don't know. The Wii U is my least used console. I use it as a Wii player.
There is one game that is on that system that I am still begging Nintendo to port over, and that is Yoshi's Woolly World.
Oh, that's a good game.
It's a great game, and I don't like what is the new one that came out?
Crafted World.
What is it? Crafted World.
Yeah.
My wife and I had a blast playing Woolly World together, and that is the one game on the system that has still not ported over, and I really hope Nintendo puts that up on the Switch too.
They also have on that system, they have the Paper Mario game, but it's so specifically integrated in the gamepad, they would have to retool the battle system. And then Kirby Canvas Curse requires the gamepad, or Rainbow Curse or whatever it is. I don't know if you've seen the graphics on it. It's probably my favorite graphics on the system. It looks like Gumby or Claymation.
Yes, I do remember that one. Yes.
It's beautiful and it looks so cool. But to play the game, you actually have to draw on the gamepad while Kirby's playing it.
I do remember that. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. Up Down Select said full set collecting can be fun, but also can be boring when you get to the sports titles.
NBA Courtside 2 would disagree with you, sir or ma'am.
Purchase Blurs Thrifting says, back when I started my journey of retro collecting for the NES, I always had wild goal to try and complete this set. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, it was slightly feasible, but now I think it's next to impossible. I'm mostly 500 deep into the NES library, including NES and third-party titles. Unfortunately, the games I'm acquiring now are coming at a true snail's pace. I just can't justify the pricing. Slowly but surely, I'm able to find one or two out in the wild for cheap. But I think the goal I had before of completing my NES set is something that will have to remain a pipe dream for me, sadly.
Whoa. I'm just going to give a high five to using the word pipe in the comment for the weekly warp pipe. I think that's it.
Nicely done.
Keith, how
Love
many
it.
do you have left on your NES set?
I just hit 491, so there's 677, give or take, if you don't include some of the other ones. So I'm getting there. I'm getting close.
You are.
And
That's
it's
awesome.
really slowing down. Like it's hard to
Right.
find ones I don't have now. So
Retroholic 16 says, "What's up, fellas? When I started collecting in 2011, I went for full sets of NES, SNES, N64, and GameCube. I got the full 296 for N64, and I also had 10 of the gray cart variants. I was about 40 away each on SNES, NES, and GameCube. Luckily, this was the big boom, so prices weren't as crazy. I unfortunately sold all that in 2013. Started collecting again 2019 and just go for the games I want to play now, including Sega." And we got Louis says, "Never understood the fascination of wanting full sets. If you're rich or well off and have loads of space, then good for you, but most people do not. For that reason, I collect what I like to play or what I might play in the future across multiple systems. It's a lot more enjoyable than struggling to get every game for a system and having it clog up space on shelves when good games could be on them." That's a good point for sure.
FOMO's a real thing.
Yes, it is.
And then on Instagram, let's see, Ty Gaming says, "I do not focus on collection as I feel I would suffer from FOMO on collecting another gem on another system. What keeps you motivated to stay on just one system and avoid collecting for other systems?" I guess that's a question he was asking. And second question is, when focusing on a complete retro collection, do you not bother collecting anything new / previous gen?
I don't think it's that rigid for anybody. I think it's more like the general goal is to complete a set, but I'm still looking for stuff I want to play regardless.
yeah.
I really truly I don't think anyone who completes a full set is collecting a full set. And also the arbitrary rule of like you have to play every game on that full set. I understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, it's not about playing every game. I think it's about enjoying the library however you choose to enjoy it. And
enjoying the journey.
Yeah, the journey part for sure.
Right.
Nice. We got any closing thoughts on that? And we can get to some voicemails as well.
Yeah.
What do you think, More? Any closing thoughts?
I think it's a lot of fun to have a goal with anything. One of the best things about collecting a full set is when you have a goal, it keeps things fairly organized with what your pursuit is. And people have paid high prices for full sets that have not included anything to do with money. And so I think one of the things that I've been cognizant of is at times when people go really fast or otherwise, sometimes I wonder if it's a way of dealing with something that they're not aware of. And that's just my profession speaking there. But at the same time, for a lot of people, it's just a truly wonderful, fun way to enjoy your life. And I think that's a great thing.
I think for the same reason to add to that is like having fun with it. As you guys know, I had mentioned that I had restarted my YouTube channel and I have zero expectations. I know it's a little different from collecting a full set, but it relates in the same way of I'm doing this for fun. And whether I get 100 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers, or none at all, I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
I want to enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, and also like grow as a person and just build that confidence. And if building a collection does that for you, more power to you, then do it. I think, but just make sure you're having fun from start to end.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And I'd say definitely set maybe smaller reachable goals. You have that big goal, but maybe break that down into smaller chunks that are more easy to obtain. So you don't stress out on like I have to get these most expensive games. It's like, all right, maybe start out with subsets or knock off the sports games early so it's not boring in the end.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Excellent. All right, let's wrap it up. We'll get to some voicemails. If you guys want to call into the show, we do have a phone number. That's 949-682-9277. 949-682-WARP. Put it in your phone. You can leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on the show and maybe give us some questions or chime in about the topic at hand.
That's a California area code, sir.
It's through like Google phone
Yeah,
thing or whatever.
cool.
You could kind of choose the number. That's why I got the last end to
Yeah.
be warp.
That's awesome.
I keep dreaming about my dream phone.
I cut Dave off.
Right, I was saying California was the only state that still had a warp at the end, so that's what we went with.
Nice.
Hit the tune again.
I keep dreaming about my dream phone. It's for you.
What's up, weekly Warp Pipers? It's your buddy NESX. Just calling to say, yeah, I tried to do a complete NES collection, talking about complete collections, and it takes so much dedication, so much money, and so much support from my family, your family, to allow you to do such a thing. So I cleared about halfway through, and I'm not saying I'm not going to ever complete it, but prices are going to have to tank. Anyway, all that to say, shout out to Tim Robbins. Do yourself a favor and listen to Tears for Fears, Memories Fade from their debut album, The Hurting. It's an incredible song, and if you're just a casual Tears for Fears fans, maybe you've never heard it. All right, guys, have a great week.
I should add more what Jay does. Jay was on the show before myself and Keith, and he has now calling in every week recommending a different song for everybody to listen to.
So another little mini segment.
Yeah, no one likes Tears for Fears, though. That's a terrible.
Oh, don't tell Jay that.
Song like Donkey Kong.
All right.
All right, we got a few more here. What do we got?
Oh, a few.
Well,
Nice.
hey guys, I really like the video. The topic of collecting a full set. Just wanted to ask, why is that Mort guy so ridiculously good looking? And I just wanted to know if he's manufactured in a lab or if that's actually who he is. Yeah, I'm just trying to take some style points so I can have better game, as they say. So
Swag.
just wondering if could answer that for me live on the air. I think was his name Mort. Yeah, that's his name, Mort. It's a cool name too. Bye.
You got to start by getting the dude's sweater. That's
Right.
that's
First
the
of all,
first thing.
What a great phone call. That is exactly. I'm so glad, stranger, that you called that in. I think one of the things I've got, I think maybe a 10-point thesis here that we could go through about how to look this good. I think having some Lebanese heritage, is Middle Eastern heritage. That's part of this, and generally just a good, solid love of movies. I'd recommend starting with The Room with a View, for example.
Great film.
Yeah. I do think there's a lot more to be said, but I'm curious if there's more voicemails. You said there's a few.
Oh yeah, let's see.
What's up, bros? I totally love watching Weekly Warp Pipe when I'm just chilling at my home. Saw the ad for this week and just had to know that Mort guy. Your group's always been, generally very good looking. But what did you guys do? You leveled it up, and it's pretty wild. So yeah, whatever, just calling to just say that. All right, bye.
Cranked it to 11 with you here, Mart.
That was Tony Hawk in Gleaming the Cube.
I think it was. Was that Christian Slater?
That might have been Jared Retro Gaming Pandemic. I don't know, but I think again another very excellent question or observation, I should say. This is a very attractive group of males, but I really I'm very self-aware here and humble about this, but I do think that this is basically like the new Backstreet Boys, basically.
Or in sync, tomorrow it's gonna be May.
Oh, nice. Get your memes ready.
That's
Memes ready.
gonna be May. Yeah, that's good.
But then again, when you're seeing this podcast, it's already like May
Already,
3rd.
that's true.
So
yeah, well, we maybe for our generation it's the new kids on the block, but for us it's the middle-aged angry men on the lawn. So that would be probably our group's name. Grumpy
Accurate.
middle-aged men on the lawn as opposed to the new kids on the block. Yeah.
the old dudes on the grass.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
There you go. Okay.
Is there
You got any
more?
more?
Oh, there's one more left here. Let's see.
All right.
Incredible podcast. Hey, what's up? My name is John, and I just wanted to say I'm super drawn to the incredible style of this podcast, but in particular, that guy Mort. What a cool look he's got going. Would love some fashion tips, just in general. Visually speaking, I think there's some trend setting happening there, and it'd be really great if you could just maybe just talk about that a little bit. Something like that would be really cool. So thank you. All right, bye.
Yeah, great question, John. I would like to mention maybe one of the things that you could do, and this is a service that I want to provide to the listeners of the Weekly Warp Pipe podcast. I think some things would be to kind of let your weight go a little bit as you get older. It sort of suggests that you're comfortable in your own skin, or maybe you have other priorities, so that you can't, get to the gym as much in time. For the physique element of it, some would say a summer dad bod is sort of the current du jour in terms of look. As far as the look, I think just shirts that don't look too stretched out anymore is the thing that I think would help. So that's for me. What incredibly insightful phone calls you've had on the podcast. That's great.
I was thinking about this just the other day, Mark. Like,
yeah,
if a guy wanted, I'm not saying it's me, but like if a guy wanted to get some cardigans, like where would he go? Where would he shop to get
wow. Well,
nice cardigans?
California swap meets, as evidenced by my Lebowski sweater, is going to be your number one choice. Your number two choice, though, is really, you could start at an Old Navy or something like that. Sometimes they have them. But I generally would say, we live in the age of e-commerce and the wildness of e-commerce. I do think there's a certain value in a cardigan from maybe a specialty brand of some kind. I do think that would be probably a wise thing to do. It's important that we all have a good cardigan to go with the summer dad bod.
We're wearing one right now.
Fantastic.
And you could find all of those on Mort's Etsy shop.
Yes. I've had people ask me before to make cardigans that say Mort's Garage, and I'm like, I don't know. What's it going to cost? Like $60? I don't know what a cardigan costs. I don't.
Take my money. Take my money.
It's a cardigan, but thanks for asking.
Pull over. Yeah.
Pull over.
Nice. All right, we're gonna jump into the Wheel of Doom time, where we have random topics on the wheel. We're gonna be spinning it, whatever it lands on. We'll be discussing for the next 10 minutes. See what happens.
Wheel of Doom.
All right, let's shuffle this baby up.
We're running out of topics, guys. We need suggestions.
Oh, it's gonna.
Where's
maybe.
it going?
Yeah.
Oh,
we got was Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest an ambitious experiment or a total mess?
Russ, you're the NES guru, as are you, Keith. But Russ, I want to hear from you on this.
Playing this one growing up, I honestly I defend this game. I had a great time playing this, where it diverged from the first game, right? First game was more like arcade style. You're just going left to right or right to left, fighting the boss at the end. With this, it gave that open world access, and I felt like it brought you out of the castle. You weren't just stuck in Dracula's castle. You got to explore swamps and the forest and go to villages or towns or whatever and talk to the people there. It just added so much more elements to the franchise, and I thought it was very um rental friendly right back in the day because it had a password system, so you can rent it for the weekend, play it for 3 days, keep your password, and then the next week, unlike Legend of Zelda, if you rented it, you're like, "Oh, someone saved over my save." You can use the password system to get back into it and maybe chat with your friends to try to get some secrets going. How do you get to this mansion, or do I need this crystal to let something else happen into it? And I certainly had a great time playing it, reading about it in Nintendo Power. And without this game, you would never gotten Castlevania Symphony of the Night, because then that took the formula and polished it a little bit more, right? And that became the staple of like, this is where Castlevania games need to be at. It's not going to be that side scrolling, adventure game anymore. Even though they did go to that for the third game, they kind of went back to the roots.
I
But
was gonna
after
say,
that,
like they experimented with this one, then they were like, "Ooh, let's go back to what we did before because that was working."
right, it's kind of interesting where they dialed it back, and then even then on the Super Nintendo, it was almost just like a remake of the first game with just better graphics. It wasn't
Yeah.
until the N64 where they had more of a adventure style game on it there.
I mean, I don't know how you defend the day and night cycle in the
Yeah.
second one, where it like all of a sudden it's like you're cruising along and all of a sudden it's like, ooh, and then there's like, why can't it just turn to night? Why do I need a text box telling me that
Mhm.
it's and everything stops and then I'm getting killed by a guy I was trying to
What a
avoid?
what a terrible night to have a curse.
Right?
There are
Yeah, terrible night.
some great ROM hacks that you can get where they kind of polish certain stuff in the game, where it's a smoother transition on that, or what the people say in the village is more helpful, because in the original game a lot of the stuff that the people say is almost gibberish because they
Yeah.
are cursed or scared of what Dracula might do to them. So they're giving you wrong information. And people guess didn't get that or read the backstory or whatever. So they're like, we'll fix that.
Or they're not there when it's nighttime. You have to go back and wait until it's daytime
Right.
and
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
hang out in town in
Mhm.
front of the inn until it's daytime to talk to the guy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? You guys got anything on this one?
I had a ton of fun playing this one as a kid. I never beat it, but I really had a lot of enjoyment just kind of wandering around and seeing where I can go with it. I think that it was far too advanced for me at the time. Um, but I honestly think that also had to do with I played this Castlevania before the first Castlevania.
Okay.
So I feel like because of that, I just figured this is what Castlevania was.
Right. Going in like, okay, here we go. Here it is. You had nothing to
Yeah.
compare it to be like,
So
oh,
I
they
had
deviated.
I had no issues with it. It's certainly ambitious. I never grasped the fact that you needed to do things like certain at night and certain things during the day. But I have not played it in a very long time. But I do remember that, yeah, I know that people ragged on it a lot, but part of me, maybe because of the nostalgia talking, I kind of preferred it over the original one just because I think that I don't know, there was just more elements to it. There was more story and a lot of, depth to playing it.
Hmm.
Could I do it now? Maybe. I probably still need some
Some
hint
guidance. Yeah.
guidance for it, but I think if you look at that today, yeah, in today's day, you got crazy games that do the exact same thing, right? So Was it a trendsetter as well? Um, I enjoy it. So I think that yes, it's ambitious, but it's also a lot of fun. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I think, David, you're hitting it on the head, which is like it's so obtuse, but was that a fun thing to have to dig through and figure out what everyone's saying and read between the lines and all that kind of stuff? And so for that, thank you.
Oh,
Appreciate that. Um,
Service.
so I think like most people reviled the game because it was not fun, to have to kneel for however long for the tornado to come and bring you the thing. And that's something you found out because one of the out of the all the townspeople you talk to, only one of them's telling you the truth or whatever. Like I haven't played much of the game, but you know for some people that's a lot of fun. For me it is not, which is why I think it's a crappy game.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Keith says, "Get this junk out of here." I am excited for there's a new game coming out that is basically a remake of this in the new era sense. It's called, trying to remember the name because it's a long terrible name. It's like the Castlevania Adventure of Simon Quest or whatever. It's made by the same people that done um what the heck is the other one? I always say Retroware is putting it out. Um they have a few games. They're doing the Toxic Crusader beat 'em up game, and they're doing
Mhm.
there's
Oh,
like
cool.
a Contra something game. I could see if I can bring up some quick gameplay footage, but it adds like a better map system so you know where to go, and it's coming out on modern console, so you can do a lot more, but it's made to look, retro.
And it's based on Simon's Quest,
Yes. Yeah, let me see if I can get the title in here.
so it's kind of like a remaster.
Simon's Quest Transylvania Adventure. The Transylvania Adventure of Simon Quest. Sorry, that's the full name. Look, I
They're
mean, they
very
could come up
wordy folk, aren't they?
That's very wordy.
just so they won't get sued by Nintendo. They just can't say, "Hey, it's this." But it looks awesome. Here's a quick preview of it,
Oh yeah, huh?
but it's coming out pretty soon.
Hmm.
This is like the announcement trailer. If you played Curse of the Moon, Bloodstain, obviously inspiration from that, but they added, big map world and everything. So it's what Castlevania, Simon's Quest, and NES want it to be, but couldn't be because of limitations, essentially. So I'm
Well,
super excited for this. Yeah.
There's no limitations in all those colors they're using for sure.
That's really cool.
Oh look, you could pet a dog.
Yeah, yeah.
I love
Minecart
petting
stage.
dogs.
Of course, we have the minecart
A
stage.
Donkey Kong minecart.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah. So
Cool.
if you're into Castlevania, then perhaps you could check this one out.
A
And get it now.
crab?
A crab.
Right. It looks delicious. Think of all the
I
legs there.
I like the fire whip in the snow.
Yeah. Nice.
You think that's a metaphor, like something about the duality of our internal sort of worlds? How we can have both coexist at the same time. All of us who are good still have the capacity for evil, but they still live in the same body.
Either that, or just like Beavis and Butthead said, fire is cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I, I don't know. I feel like there's something deeply spiritual about the game you just showed us, Russ.
That sounds great.
Excellent. All right, wrapping it up, we'll give you guys a quick breakdown of what game we'll be playing next week for our Warp Pipe rental. Again, that's going to be River City Ransom on the NES. So hit the rental store up and play that game and let us know your thoughts on that. And then what topic are we jumping into next week, Dave?
So next week we're going to talk about some obscure, maybe forgotten toy lines, but also dive into my recent trip to Chicago, where I went to the Chicago toy show, also known as the Kane County Toy Show. I went all week driving all the way. I was like 19 hours in the car doing some hunting on the way, all for toys. There's some wild things I saw, so it ties in really well with these forgotten toys, and we're gonna have a nice little discussion about it.
Excellent. So tune in next week for that. And more, our guests, if people want to find out where you are or locate you, where can they go?
YouTube.com/Mort's Garage would be the place you can go for more of your Mort experience. I'm also on Instagram, and I post there frequently. I just want to say thank you so much, and you can get more advice on how to look good physically, spiritually, and emotionally. Thank you so much.
Love it. Love it.
Now you've got a garage. Do you have an attic too?
I have Keith. You can also visit Mort's Attic on YouTube, where I post some long form content, including panels, deep dives into TV series and movies. It's an amazing place, and it's one in which you'll have a wonderful time. Mort's Attic, where you'll learn more about your physical appearance, emotional and spiritual beauty. Thank you so much. Mort.
Perfect.
And if you were like selling things and whatnot, is there anywhere else they'd be able to find you?
Do you want to get the best deals in video games from your favorite YouTuber? Head to Whatnot. Use my credits to get a few bucks or whatever the heck they do. I don't know. Who cares? And you can get yourself a fantastic, beautiful time hanging out with Mort on a Whatnot show, which happens a few times here and there. Last time people were buying video games from me that I thought I would get about $20 for $7. And it's you if you want to wax another individual, as it were, get all that you can handle. Mort's Garage on Whatnot, where you will look more beautiful physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Thank you so much.
I think that wraps all of those up. Where can we find you, Keith? What are you
We
doing?
can go a little further. You can find me on YouTube and on Instagram, Retro Cart Collector. I don't have any. I'm looking for advice from Mort so I can look more beautiful physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
You don't need my advice, man. Your peak performance Keith.
Right at the tippy top.
It's all
David,
downhill
you
from
ready?
here.
Right? It's a
No.
wild ride downhill too.
You heard what that stranger, whoever that very smart person was, commenting on how good
John was his name, Mort.
I believe it was John. Thank you, David. I'd forgotten already.
Dave, where can we find you?
You can find me on YouTube now. You can find me, Dave. It's me. I'm here. I took the week off because I went to Kane County Toy Show, but I'm going to be back again this weekend with another video. And I have some content for days now because I filmed so much going to Chicago, doing the toy show and back. You can also find me on Instagram, and that is David.Apuzzo. I don't know where I am. Am I over here?
Yep.
Yep, you got it this time.
Put a period in the middle of that D and the A, and then that's where my Instagram is. So check it out. And then you'll find me here at the Weekly Warpipe.
Excellent. You guys
What
can
about you, Russ?
check me out on my YouTube's channel, Russ Lyman. I've been putting out videos 3 a week now. Our schedule is Monday, we got Nintendo Let's Plays. I'm playing every NES game. Wednesdays, I'm going through Nintendo Power. I got this issue right here. Issue 5 with Ninja Gaiden is the latest one I put up. It's an hour-long video. I do a deep dive into this. So every Wednesday, you get a new magazine. And Fridays are right now gaming throwbacks. They were videos that were on technically this channel. It was called Bit by Bit, and we switched it over to the Weekly Warpipe. So they're old game hunting videos on this channel that I moved over to Russ Lyman. So you can check that out. I'm on Instagram and TikTok as well under Russ Lyman. And hey, quick shout out to our very first channel member, the Wizard J, signed up to be a
Ooh.
channel member to support the weekly Warp Pipe.
That's awesome.
So you get a sticker, a button, and the channel membership card, which we'll send out. Dave has a sticker right there showcasing, and buttons came in as well, so we're good to go on that.
I think I have a button. I might have a button. Oh, I don't have a button with me. It's
Okay.
still packed up from Kane County.
Fair enough. But if you guys want to support the show, you could go through our YouTube to be a channel member, $1 a month or $3 a month. So we appreciate that. And we appreciate you, Mort, hanging out with us on
You guys,
the show.
thank you so much. Thank you. This was so much fun. I appreciate you guys having me on. I hope it's not the
Thank
last time.
you for joining us because it's been a blast. Had a great time.
I can't wait. And SoCal, it's very soon.
Very soon.
It was very soon. And
I'll be
hopefully
there.
by then I'll have a new hat.
I'll bring one back for you.
David, are you going to be at SoCal?
I unfortunately cannot because we have all the other cons we're getting invited to, and I just came back from the week trip, so I kind of have to pick and choose my battles. So I would like to, but we will be at Siege. We will be at Siege,
all right.
And we will be at Retro World Expo for sure,
Mhm.
and hopefully maybe Arkansas.
Arkansas. That sounds great.
Arkansas. I wish I can go to
Arkansas.
SoCal though. I have never been there.
Have you
Sweet.
been to California before?
I have.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought when you
I
said never
have.
been to SoCal, I didn't know if that was.
Well, I meant the
convention.
the convention. I have been long time ago, like when I was right out of college. I toured with a friend's band named Grover Dill across
yeah.
country.
And we played
And
with you guys.
really?
No.
Oh. Oh, that Mort always.
What did your band, what were you influenced by?
Well, I wasn't in the band. I worked as the road manager
That's
and
awesome.
that guy. So I was like 23 years old and right out of college, and we just
I hear
took
no
a
one
trip.
likes you
They
when you're
asked me to
23.
come down. What's that?
I hear no one likes you when you're 23.
Nope.
There you go, Russ. There you go.
Classics. I dig it.
Wow. Deep dive in here on the weekly Warp Pipe. Let's tune in
Yes.
next week to see what other
Oh.
deep dives we can get.
Real quick, today is, since the podcast comes out, and it is Free Comic Book Day. My buddy Tom Ryan, who's an artist and does some comic book covers, wanted me to let you guys know, hey, Free Comic Book Day. You could go to your local comic book
Nice.
store and pick up a free comic book. So check that
And
out.
not only that, but if you ever want to commission Tom Ryan, he is the creator of my logo. So there you go.
There you go.
I'll throw one of these stickers in the memberships too if you guys join the weekly Warp Pipe.
Excellent.
That's really cool.
Sweet. All right, guys. Hey, thanks so much for jumping in the Warp Pipe with us. And we will see you on the next level.